I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, everybody? Oops, the podcast. Hope you guys are hanging in there. I'm here with Francis Ellis, as always, our buddy.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see and hear from you.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good. Pretty shitty day up here in Maine, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's rainy here too in New York, man. But
classic.
What are you gonna do? We appreciate you guys continuing to download and like all our shit and subscribe and all that because obviously things are slow and we appreciate your loyalty.
Yeah, but not that slow for us. Actually, I think this is a really good time for us. We're doing better than most people.
That is true. But we appreciate you guys continuing to listen when you could be listening to the news and shit instead.
I had a conversation with a fellow friend who runs a podcast, and I asked them how bad they've been taking a hit during this time, and she told me the number, and then asked me, and I lied to make it sound like we were doing better than them.
Were they doing much worse, or like what?
Yeah, they're not doing that great, to be honest with you. But the number I gave her was not accurate for us.
That's good, dude. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Listen,
Yeah.
Pulling a China with the numbers.
That's right. This is our Friday episode. I love our Friday episodes. We got a great episode for you guys today. We're going to be checking in with some boarding school kids. Because our boarding school episode earlier in this week rustled a lot of feathers, and we have some kids who want to weigh in on that. But first, G, what do you got for us?
Oh yeah, we got a pretty good email. Thank you guys for continuing to send your emails. This one made us laugh, so we thought that we would read it on the episode. All right, so this is a girl, 24-year-old girl who's been seeing a guy who's a little older than her for a bit, and they're kind of like in the middle figuring it out, and she has a good little tale here. She goes, I got really drunk the other night and decided to call him since we hadn't spoken in a week or so. I was really feeling myself and was probably 4 or 5 drinks in. So when he answered, I was feeling bold. I guess I thought I was being funny, but I asked him point blank, how come you don't eat pussy? It's true. We hooked up several times and not once did he venture down south. He has, for lack of a better term, skull fucked me on multiple occasions. So I was just trying to get some clarity on the situation. He got really flustered and didn't want to talk about it. It sounded like he was on his way to hang up, saying something like, I just don't want to talk about this right now, when I heard a loud crash. He talks to me through the whole thing and he's fine, but apparently he was driving and hit a light pole while we were on the phone. Then he was livid, talking about how distracted he was and how he couldn't believe I would call him and ask him such a personal and sensitive question while he was driving. It's a lot to take in. Who made the bigger oops in this situation?
Oh, my God. So much to unpack here. So much to unpack. All right. So first of all, what do you think skull fucking is?
I think skull fucking is thrusting the pelvis while dragging the head towards you at the same time. Like into someone's face.
You think he was... Oh, I've heard of that as face fucking. Like he did that to her.
Yes.
I was picturing this as, given that he wouldn't eat her pussy, that instead he was skull fucking her, meaning he was just sort of headbutting her vagina with his forehead. Like a woodpecker.
That's hilarious.
And didn't know what was going. He didn't know what he was doing wrong.
That is great, man.
That's what I thought he was doing.
That's hilarious.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. From a guy who's really into something as degrading as face fucking, it doesn't surprise me that he hasn't mastered the sensual art of cunnilingus. This guy sounds like a fucking wrecking ball, you know?
Yeah, in many more ways than one.
Yeah. So okay, and then from there he gets flustered and drives his car off the road. Is that how you take this?
He allegedly drove off the road and hit a light pole while they were on the phone due to being flustered by being called out on not eating, not going down there.
Wow.
So I'm wondering, dude, she's obviously not to blame for this.
No, I don't think so. But I'm sure there's like everything. There's always two sides to a story, right?
Yeah. No, I guess.
One time when I was in high school, I'd never gone down on a girl before, and this girl that I was like hooking up with, sort of like set us up to 69.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just like assumed the position.
She just sat on your face.
Yeah, effectively. But she was already going down on me. And so I didn't know what to do. And I took a couple like sniffs and was repulsed.
Why? She was not cleanly?
I just don't think I'd experienced enough vaginas at that point to understand that they come with all different funks, like
right.
different cheeses. And so that first one, I wasn't ready to sort of like floss with it. And I ended up fake chowing.
What does that mean? You just made the noise?
It's the term from that movie Hall Pass that Jason Sudeikis employs, where you like end up fingering her with your mouth near the vagina, but you don't actually touch your mouth with it. And then you make the noises like nom 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 nom. And I don't know. I'm sure she probably could tell the difference, but
well, I'm assuming you have since then. I mean, are you a person who shies away from that?
No,
activity?
I don't shy away from it. I think in my younger days, I was much more automatic about it. Like there was a period in my life where I really enjoyed it, and now I don't know.
Dude, eating pussy is like drinking wine, in my opinion, like you said, because at first it's like a taste that you are not used to. And at first, maybe you're not sure if you like it, but you grow to love it and enjoy it and appreciate it.
Yeah, but again, I will say that like not all wine is to my liking.
Fair, yes, of course, fair enough.
Not all vagina is perfectly balanced. Sometimes it's a little too fruit forward for my taste.
It's not pH balanced.
Yeah. I don't like I don't like a sparkling wine or Riesling's too sweet for me.
Right.
It has to be a nice, subtle, well-aged,
crisp with a little bite.
Clean Pinot Noir is what we're looking for. Yeah.
Very reasonable.
Clean finish.
Well, first of all, I think that this guy you're dating, or the guy who's never gone down on you, I think it's good that you brought it up. You should be like, listen,
Totally.
if you want something and he's not doing it, you got to say something. You know what I mean? It's not your fault. And also, like, he should be able to handle that on a drive.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? What? Is his family in the car? Like,
that's insanely stupid.
Get out. I don't see any scenario where he should be so flustered by that.
Yeah. You can't imagine calling your girlfriend and being like, "You think we could try anal?" and she just crashes into a tree immediately. That's not how that works, dude.
How dare you ask me while I'm driving? Well, don't fucking pick up the phone if you can't handle driving and getting a few. What did he? I don't know. That's stupid. She's in the right. Although it is possible, I always try to see if I can step into the other person's shoes. And I'm just thinking that maybe there was a scenario where, like, the last time he went down on a girl, he was in a car and maybe she was driving or something, and he did it so well that she drove off the road. And as a result, it's like a tick for him now. I don't know.
Right. She triggered him somehow or something.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a great oops. I like that one.
That is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good that you started the dialogue. It's fucked up that he's like now blaming you. That's ridiculous.
I would say that this guy does not sound particularly stable. I would advise her to stop trying to see what's up with him.
Yeah, don't stop trying to change this guy.
Yeah. Dude, how is your light so good? Do you have an O light or whatever?
No, I sit right, there's a window in front of me.
Oh man, that's natural light?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, man.
Fantastic.
I have no pigment in my skin. I mean, I know you suffer from a similar situation, but we're like the palest fucking podcast duo in the world, man.
Could be. It is true. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, listen, we had a fantastic time on Monday or Tuesday or whatever it was talking about boarding schools and the types of kids that go there and how strict the regulations can be. You and I
pros and cons.
Yeah, you and I had sort of opposing viewpoints about. You thought that some of the restrictions are too tight and that kids can't really spread their wings, and especially with like the drinking and drugs being kicked out, one strike policy, the lack of co-ed visitation rights for dorm rooms, all that stuff.
Yes.
And we have a boarding school student who's going to join us on the podcast today to weigh in. Chris, is he ready to join?
No, I haven't gotten anything from him yet.
Okay, I'll DM him.
Still waiting on him.
I DM with a lot of kids, by the way.
I got a lot of sort of like not angry DMs. I got a couple DMs of people being like, "What the fuck's your problem with boarding school?" I loved boarding school. And again, you know, it's an individual experience. You know what I mean? I'm sure that there's plenty of people who loved it and got a lot out of it. As I imagine, there's plenty of people who have negative experiences with it. I just personally have trouble imagining these being good circumstances to live in. I mean,
right.
You know, prove me wrong, but
yeah,
we
got some DMs that were like, you know, I turned out fine. Look at me.
Right. No one's suggesting that you're not going to turn out fine from it. You know what I mean? And
well, it almost is exactly the type of response that you'd expect from a kid that went to boarding school. I mean,
right.
You know, they're clearly trying to prove something about themselves.
They survive too. Like, and this thing, my friend was like,
yeah.
What's that?
They feel like the world revolves around them.
Well, that's interesting. My buddy was like, dude, when you survive it with your friends, you have friends for life because of what you guys went through. He's like, it sucks so bad that it's fun. And like, I understand that, but it just,
you know what else they say that about?
And unjust.
They say that about war.
Right. Dude.
Soldiers say that. We used to say that about lacrosse. I mean, you can find lifelong friends really anywhere. You don't have to just go to boarding school, but yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Boy, Chris, let me know when our friend Isaac is ready for us. Is he here? No.
So, dude, let's talk about the thing that we got, that burn book.
Yeah, that's perfect. We'll start with that. So, all right. You take a look at this?
Oh, yeah, dude. I was loving it. I was combing through it all morning.
Apparently in 2010, at the Choate Rosemary Hall boarding school, which is one of New England's most elite boarding schools, a group of girls had a Facebook group where they would, on a daily basis, update each other about gossip, talk tons of shit about their classmates. Really kind of, it was almost like what evolved now into what we know as Finstagram accounts. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, but even just like a group text type of thing.
Yeah, it's a group text on Facebook though.
Right.
And this was in 2010, and it's like 220 pages long, and we managed to get our hands on it. I think this caused some controversy because I think it got out, and that the teachers found it, and a bunch of these girls ended up like maybe getting their admissions rescinded at elite colleges they've gotten into.
How and why?
Dude, I'm not 100% sure that that's true. I do know that in the ensuing years, Facebook groups and email chains of this nature have caused massive amounts of controversy. The Harvard soccer team a couple years ago had its entire season canceled because it was discovered that the men's team was providing some kind of scouting report on the girls' team's incoming freshman class,
Oh, right.
ranking them in terms of how hot they were, and it was a big scandal. The guys were seen as being sexist. It made national news. I blogged it. Go figure. And these kinds of things have been going. I remember in high school we used to rank, the top 10 hottest girls in the school, all that shit. And the thing is, both sides do it.
Right.
Women do it too, and this is evidence of that. So, your thoughts, Giulio?
Well, I mean, dude, it seemed like a perfectly harmless adolescent group text chain. I was laughing, dude. Like this one girl was talking about L penis. She referred to L penis multiple times in the group chat. I was dying. Because in the email we got, it said you have to control F, like find certain keywords because it's so dense if you want to find like the juicy gossip.
Oh yeah, I forgot
but
about
most
that.
of it just sounded like a private conversation intended for, and whoever made that into a PDF is the person who deserves to get in trouble, not the girls.
I know. Yeah. Do you remember when at Duke there was a girl who wrote a PowerPoint about all the dudes that she had sex with and like ranked them and their penises and all that?
This is different from the porn star, right?
Yeah, not that girl. Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't know about this.
Yeah. I mean, that happened and that made national news, and a guy I know was on it. Even though she had only good things to say about him, he ended up losing his job at Goldman Sachs.
Wow.
And a bunch of the dudes who were on it were also lacrosse players who had been implicated or peripherally implicated in the Duke lacrosse rape scandal, which obviously turned out to be completely false
Bullshit.
and fabricated. But
no
really,
one gave those kids enough sympathy for that, I thought.
by that point, I think, the one good thing that came out of it was the ESPN 30 for 30 about it, which, look, as a lacrosse player myself in college, I can't tell you the number of times that, like, when people find that out about me, they just, like, for whatever reason, college lacrosse player has become synonymous with rapist, all
Right.
because of that story and how much news it made.
Fucked up.
I know that the three guys who were part of it all got some pretty sizable settlements from Duke University, deservedly so. And
Absolutely.
I've known them. I know a few of them, and it sounds cliche, but like they're all great dudes.
Right.
It was as if the woman chose three of the straightest shooters on that team just by chance. And even so, their reputations are forever ruined. I mean, because there's so many people that don't know how that story actually turned out.
I know. It's really miraculous how few people know about that.
And a lot of people still think that like Duke lacrosse players raped strippers in Durham.
Right. It's so crazy.
But anyway, Chris, our guy, he says he's here.
Incoming.
He's in the waiting room. All right, so great. Let's get him in here. I have so many questions about him. There he is.
What's up, dude?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Isaac Green from the Kent School. Isaac, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, thanks for joining us. I'm Francis. That's Giulio Gallerati, my co-host.
What's up, bro?
Where are you?
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
I'm in my house in Florida right now.
What part of Florida?
Vero Beach.
Nice.
On the Lower East Coast.
And you go to the Kent School. Where's that?
It's in Northwest Connecticut.
Got it.
Like near where, like around where all like Taft, Choate, all those go there.
Hell yeah. You look exactly how I pictured you were going to look.
What sports do you play?
Worried you'd say that.
Yeah.
I play baseball.
Nice. And Kent's like a very prestigious athletic school, right?
Some sports it is, I'd say.
Like hockey, right?
Hockey, crew is big.
Okay.
But we're building.
Okay.
Awesome.
I like that.
Well, Isaac, we're so thrilled to have you. I have so many questions for you. And I guess the first one I want to ask is, as a high school student and a teenager who has been, taken out of what grade are you in?
I'm a senior.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So maybe not quite as unsettling for you because you were pretty close to the finish line. Although, obviously, unfortunately, your baseball season was canceled, everything. But my question is, what is the homeschooling situation like? Can you walk us through your day-to-day online classes, all that stuff?
Absolutely. It's definitely more relaxed than regular classes. It's hard to really get that classroom vibe in a Zoom session, but we're being assigned close to just as much work, getting it done.
Is there any oversight? I mean, I just don't understand how a teacher could possibly hold you to like deadlines or get, whatever.
I mean, we use this program called Power School where it grades stuff itself, and it has due dates, and it'll close right at that due date. So if you don't have it in, you're screwed.
Okay, so
Right.
the robots are pretty
Yeah.
strict.
Dude, is this?
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Francis.
No, you go
I was
ahead.
just gonna, Francis mentioned the baseball thing. Is this going to make some athletes do a PG year just because they don't get to like have their senior sports year, or are people like committed to colleges already? How is that all working?
Some of our guys committed in the fall,
Okay.
so they had it all set up. I thought about doing a PG year, but I'm not. I just going to college next year.
Where are you headed?
I'm heading to Salve Regina in Newport.
Nice,
Wow.
dude.
Newport.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
beautiful.
my boy is like one of the athletic directors
Oh, really?
and like a baseball guy. If you need a hookup, I
I
can put in a good word for you.
Thank you. I've talked to their coach a bit, so we're hoping
Sweet.
for the best.
Hell
Dude.
yeah, dude. All right, so I have a couple more questions about the academics. Like, what is to prevent anyone from cheating? I mean, are you being sent tests?
I don't want to incriminate myself or anyone,
No.
but no, I know. There's not really.
So is it just
From
like
what
an
I see.
honor expectation?
Yeah, I
of
guess.
holding an honor code or something?
Yeah, a lot of teachers have opted to just not do tests or quizzes.
Got it. So like mostly final papers and essays and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to end up being.
That's a smart way to do it. Yeah, for sure. Here's a question. Do you find that it's in some ways easier to concentrate given that you are no longer in a classroom surrounded by a bunch of, female classmates that otherwise might have, sent your hormones raging?
No, not at all.
No.
I think it's harder to concentrate
Oh, wow.
because
Okay.
I'm in the comfort of my own home. I'm just waking up.
Nice.
It's hard. It gets
Fuck
hard
yeah,
sometimes.
1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Are you playing a lot of video games? I mean, what's the thing that's vying for your attention over your schoolwork?
If I'm not in class, I'm napping. Right now, and then once I'm
Right.
done at 3:30, maybe work out, watch Netflix.
Dude, is it nice being able to jerk it without having to worry about your roommate coming in?
It's a thrill. It really is.
Fuck
It's it really is.
It's a
Nice.
thrill.
It's a thrill.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Did you have a girlfriend? We're not going to get too personal, but like, what happened there?
I haven't had one since sophomore year, so
Damn. All right. Playing the field. I like
Playing the
that.
field.
Play in the
Schedule
field. Play in the
open
field.
for Salve Regina. So, okay. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I'm sure you maybe had some prospects, some girls that someone you were going to take to prom.
I did, but
And what happened with her? Is she
well,
okay?
I mean, I'm sure she'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll be okay.
Did anyone
Devastating
from your
time.
school get coronavirus?
We had a teacher who
Classic.
did. She's fully recovered, doing
Okay.
great.
good.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, dude, let me ask you this about boarding school, because we were kind of just talking about how strict it can be and stuff. And I have like a bunch of friends who've gone, and I've heard tons of stories. My brother did a PG year at Choate. I'm like semi-familiar with some of it, but the rules seem really fucking strict, and it seems stressful and like almost oppressive. And I was curious if you had any like stories or input about that.
it definitely is. when I came to Kent, we had a 3-strike policy,
Mhm.
Wow.
and that has slowly turned into just one, and sometimes you're gone.
So can you give us some context about what a strike entails? Because I know that it's kind of like a bunch of shit could qualify as a strike.
Yeah.
Like how minor are we talking?
Well, we used to have things called tobacco strikes, where if you were caught with like vape, dip,
Packing a lip. Yeah.
yeah, cigarette,
Yeah.
anything,
Snooze.
you get a strike.
Snuff.
Now,
Yeah.
now it's you're gone, pretty much.
Is that not a soft strike, or that's just a fucking strike in your toes?
That's a fucking strike, and you're out.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Wow.
we had. I think
How
we
is the
had.
hockey team coping?
They you know, they
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 find
get
a
off a
way.
little. They get off a little easier sometimes, but
Yeah.
but I think we had about 40 something kids kicked out last year just for that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for packing lips. And I mean, obviously packing lips bad for you, but hello, maybe kids are packing lips because they're so fucking stressed. They're sexually frustrated. They can't
They're all
bang their
boned up.
girlfriends in privacy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Wait. So Isaac, given how strict that rule is, were there any kids that were kicked out? Is anybody drinking? Does anyone have the balls to like actually drink alcohol or smoke weed?
Absolutely.
Oh,
It's those people really you can get away with it. It's the people who make the drunken mistakes that really get caught. But
can you give
if
us an
you're
example? Like what would a drunken mistake be?
like just really getting fucked up and then going to check in, and it's hard to hide.
What's check-in?
So on weekdays we have upperformers. You have to check in and be in your dorm by 10:30, and like underformers at 10. And then on Saturdays they give us an extra half hour till 11. But yeah, and then after check-in you're gonna have lights out at 11 for underformers. So you gotta be in bed at a certain time.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Can I ask you this, dude? Like, because one of my friends told me who went to a boarding school, he was like, dude, we knew every night what teacher was on duty. So he's like, on Tuesday, Mr. Smith was on duty. And like, if you did anything, you were going to get a strike and you're gone. But on Wednesday, it was Mr. Johnson and you could literally murder a hooker and like no one would ever find out. And I was like, is that true? Like, does that have any accuracy?
No, it does. During weekdays, I'd say it's pretty calm, but you could, if you want to be, there are some people where if you want to be in your friend's room later than the rules say, no one's really going to give you any shit for it.
Isaac, it brings to mind, let me ask you this. Is there anyone that you know at the school who has had the foresight and the math acumen to, let's say, do the principal's taxes or propose roofing a wing of the school in exchange for some leniency? I don't know if you've seen The Shawshank Redemption, but it went a long way in that movie.
No, I don't think there have been any bribes sort of set out.
No?
No,
Not that
not
you
at
know
all.
of.
Not even a pack of
Not that I
sticks?
know of. No. They're just
Damn.
doing their own thing.
Crazy.
Okay. All right. Now, here's another question, and I hope we're not making you uncomfortable. You can always pass on these questions, Isaac, but you are very close to graduation, so I'm not worried about you. The question is, some boarding schools and certainly private schools have had scandals come forward where it was found out that a teacher was having illicit romantic relationship with a student. Has that happened at Kent anytime of late, or is it currently happening? And could you provide us as many details as possible?
No, that hasn't. I know of one time it happened like way back in the 80s,
Uh-huh.
but it nothing recently.
Damn. Too bad.
Yeah,
I've heard of stuff like that happening too with like administrators, and it's pretty crazy.
it has happened, but we're keeping it clean.
Nice.
Love that, dude. Is it true that people have sex on the squash courts?
It's definitely possible. Like they're far enough to where you're really going to be isolated, but they're close enough to where people are really they're willing to make the hike.
Yeah, yeah. What about the boathouse?
They're the real religious group people who wouldn't dare. But
Oh,
I'm sure it's been done. I'm sure
yeah.
it's been.
Yeah, I
Got
always
it.
wonder, those like early riser sports are always like the most like crazy sexually though, like swimmers, and they're like
Big
crazy,
time.
bro.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, dropping loads everywhere. So, Isaac, a question I have for you: this whole co-ed, thing. Like, is there such a thing as you can get granted a co-ed, which is where you're allowed to like actually spend time with the door open in the room of a girl, or do you not need that?
On weekends, we have something called interviz, where it's like 2 hours. You have to have your door propped, and they have to sign in, and it's monitored. But you can have girls in your room then, or guys in a girl's room.
And are
Both
are
sides.
people in those times, even with the door open, are they finding a way to knock boots?
No, that's usually just you'll always find a way.
Right.
It's
But
like
not during that time.
no, not during that time.
Not when
That's
they
that's a
suspect you.
good way to get caught. Study hall, just outside is a big
Like wildlings?
yeah. Uh, you'll
Just
you'll
out in the
see
cold?
you'll see the two freshmen walking with a blanket from the middle of the field, and
Wow.
it's a nice little love story.
Well,
Yeah,
picnic.
that is nice. Under the stars. Uh-huh.
Dude, has anyone ever been walked in on just straight up smashing, like hitting it from the back, like a teacher walked in?
Absolutely.
That's God bless them, dude.
Yeah.
And what happened then? Is that an automatic expulsion?
I don't think so. I think they stayed, but they had a lot of hours to work off.
Wow. Oh,
And that you like
these
clean
service
the
hours?
teachers' rooms and shit, right?
Uh, when it's warm outside, you'll be raking, pretty much doing a lot of outside stuff.
Picking up
fucking
trash
gulag, dude.
along
Picking
the
up,
highway in an orange jumpsuit.
yeah. But in the winter, you'll be cleaning tables.
So, Isaac, we've talked about the strike policy. Would you say that boarding school in general has been a good thing for you, or does part of you wish that you'd stayed at home and gone to a school near you?
No, I think it's been good. Um, I don't know. It brings a lot of structure to your day, and there's a lot of different people that you wouldn't normally meet.
Right. You seem like a pretty well-adjusted, humble, nice kid, which is one of the reasons we like you so much. But I have to imagine that there are a lot of douchebags and douchettes, wearing like Lily Pulitzer and Nantucket red pants and Vineyard Vines ties. I mean, does that all still exist? Is that all still part and parcel of the New England
it,
prep
it
school scene?
it all still exists, but with those, you're also gonna get your rednecks. Um, you're gonna get just people from foreign countries. They're still there, but there's a healthy mix of
Of
everything.
people.
Right,
Do
of
you
kids.
really get rednecks? You get rednecks at Kent School in Connecticut?
There are some. One of my closest friends, from last year who graduated. He's a redneck. He's proud of the title, so I feel comfortable saying that. But
Was this
Let's
kid
assume
like,
redneck is a relative term, potentially.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's pretty fitting. But
Was he brewing moonshine in the radiator of your dorm room?
he's no, but his home life is it was actually really funny. He's big into the redneck sort of life, like big into like forestry, and it's what he goes to school for. And
Forestry.
yeah,
Love it.
so me and a few buddies went up to his house last summer, and
Where is it?
it's up in upstate New York.
Okay.
That doesn't
And
sound like
just like
redneck to me.
it gets pretty
It gets
icky
dodgy up there.
Yeah. And I was wearing just shorts and a long sleeve, and he told me I was overdressed, and I was like, okay. So we put on like tank tops and shorts, and we go. And his whole family is wearing like either like button downs or a long sleeve shirt and like khaki shorts, and like they'll go to Cornell or St. Lawrence, and I was like, I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, so he
It
got
was
you
so
there.
different. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
That's funny, dude.
I have to say, Isaac, I don't mean to disagree with you, but this picture that you're painting of a redneck family is very different from the redneck.
No,
he
was the only one. That was the crazy part.
This kid sounds like I don't know if you remember that story about Rachel Dolezal, who became a spokesperson for the NAACP, and it turned out that she wasn't actually black. Your buddy sounds like that of rednecks.
No, I guess it's hard to paint a picture of him. You'd have to meet him, I guess, but
he joined the cause.
Rebellious to the family ways.
Yeah.
Right. So were you up in like Ithaca? Is that where he?
Yeah, up near there.
Nice.
Up near Syracuse.
What is Kent's biggest rivalry?
We have Loomis Day, which is when all the teams play Loomis Chaffee in sports, but I would say Hotchkiss is really our biggest rivalry.
Cool.
And Loomis is like the stoner one, right?
That I don't know. They're just like a school that's known to be kind of a jock factory, but at the same time they're really good, like a really good academic school.
Interesting.
So they're just beating people and everything.
So what are the super elite academic ones are your Phillips Andover, Phillips Exeter, Taft, would you say? I don't know. What are the really
Hotchkiss?
Hotchkiss is a big
Choate.
Choate's hard to get into. Taft is hard to get into.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're up there, but we're not in the elite column. I don't think, as far as many people.
Was Kent your number one choice?
Technically Kent was my only choice, but
you only applied to one school?
Well, it's because my dad works
You went there?
at Kent.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, he works at Kent.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of a shoe-in, but
boy, I feel like we're gonna get in trouble for this. I mean,
no. I've talked to him about it. Don't worry.
Okay,
right.
Cool. Wow. Anything else, G? I mean, I feel like I'm speaking to a rare exotic animal. I know. It's
this
awesome.
Is great, dude.
We only ever talk to like depressed comedians on this show, so it's great to have a child.
I know.
With all due respect, yeah. Are you able to, given that your family has a house in Kent, are you able to ever just dip off campus and go home for a pancake breakfast on Saturday?
Yeah, I can go pretty much whenever.
Are you afforded special privileges because your dad works at the school?
Yeah. I'm not gonna hide it. I get the question a lot. I guess technically I am. But
Nice.
That explains how we got you on here.
I'm not ashamed of it. No, I would have been quick to jump at the opportunity in any situation.
Too funny. All right. So I guess the last question I have is, I don't even know if it's the last question, but, given all of this, everything that's happened, it sounds like your life hasn't changed too dramatically. You're still on track to attend Salve Regina in the fall. You're going to graduate on time. Your academics, your homework, all of that stuff, there's still a decent structure. It begs the question, though, do you think that your education has been hampered at all based on this?
The at-home schooling situation.
Yeah, meaning
Yeah.
like in the same way that people have realized that working from home is actually a pretty effective way for industry to continue. Do you think that this has shown us that, you know, online classes and homework assignments and Zoom classrooms and all of that are a viable substitute for going to physical school?
I don't think so. To be
Why
honest
not?
with you, I mean, we're only 4 days in at this point, and
Wait, school only got canceled 4 days ago for you?
yeah, I started 4 days ago.
Were you
You were
on
in
campus
class last week?
until
Oh
4?
no, I've been off since the first week of March.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just started classes, and it's hard to really get the classroom learning
Right.
on Zoom. It's
Why is that though? Do you guys have like trimesters or something? Well, why was there this gap for the month of March? They were getting their shit together, or like what happened?
That's our spring break.
Oh, wow.
How much time do you guys get off for spring break though? 2 weeks, right?
3.
Wow.
But
3 weeks off in March?
It went a whole month this
Yeah,
year.
I
Right.
get that. Yeah. Wow. Well, everybody, I mean, this is fantastic. Isaac Green, you're an absolute stud. We really appreciate you joining us on Oops the Podcast. Everyone,
Thank you for having me.
you can follow Isaac Green on Instagram, and we hope that you will. Isaac_Green 7, the number 7, spelled the way normally. You know, there's no hidden vowels in there, and he's got a fantastic account here. Here he is, chumming it up on the baseball field with his pals. Below that, looking like an absolute stud on, was that like formal? You and the lady?
Oh yeah.
Formal. Love that. Great shoes. Below that, in your catcher's stance, talking to a coach, I presume, at Avon Old Farms. Does your dad coach the baseball team?
No, he does not.
Okay.
That's good. A little
That's
separation.
Oh,
Young
last
warrior.
question. Are there ever any fights at school?
No one. I wish it happened, but it doesn't.
Because is that a one-strike policy thing too?
I think it would be.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I don't think you'd get that, but it's a severe punishment for sure.
Wow.
That'll go on
everybody-
the record.
Because everybody's parents know the ramifications of fighting. Of people who go, you know what I mean? They're like, there's no reason to do it. You're just going to get sued. This is America. You can't just be fighting each other.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's too bad. Because my dad's high school stories.
Did he go to Kent?
No, he did not. But
Uh.
he's from Louisville. And see, people just seem to be fighting all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I haven't seen one in my high school days. And it's upsetting.
It's coming. It's coming, Isaac. They'll
for the
find
best.
you. I promise. We loved having you, dude. Stay safe out there. Maybe get some Call of Duty going. I'd love to keep in touch and become friends for a long time.
That would be great.
That's Isaac Green, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us, Isaac.
Thanks, dude.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Catch
Appreciate
you soon,
bro.
bud. Later.
Talk to you.
Bye.
It's amazing how like quiet and kind of respectful kids his age are.
I know.
Like,
I know.
it makes me realize what an asshole I've become. I used to talk to strangers that way, you know? Like, if I was his age and I'd come on to this same podcast, I would have been like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, you know?
Well, he is at boarding school, and he is taught like a certain mannerisms and
That's
like,
probably true. Yeah.
not to be.
Right.
Dude, use this if you want. This is pretty funny shit right here.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
so
still
too.
going.
Yeah. It's just amazing, you know, to look back on a time in my life when I was like that. God, I've
You
become
like
so
talk
corrupt.
different to adults,
Yes.
you know?
Well, you know what happens, Giulio, is this. Here's what happens. Like, you're brought up with this mantra of respect your elders, right? that you're meant to defer to the older generation, open doors for older women, help them across the street, get people's luggage down from airplane overhead compartments, all that shit.
All that good stuff.
Give up your seat on the bus, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, you get to an age in life where you realize that old people are not just right all the time. That they're not necessarily correct just because they've lived longer.
Right.
And you get to a point where you've acquired enough information that you can make your own decisions on things. Like for my whole life, I just basically thought that whatever my parents said about politics was correct. And then I kind of just adopted those viewpoints. And then over the last, I don't know, 5-6 years in my life, I've sort of kind of thought like, well, I don't know if I really agree with that or whatever it is. And it really comes into play with the fact that old people don't always deserve the respect that we should have to give them.
And this is that's a controversial statement.
I guess so, but it's like
I don't necessarily disagree, but
old people can do stupid shit.
Stupider shit, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like especially on driving. If like old people are not necessarily the best drivers on the road.
They shouldn't be driving, a lot of them, for sure.
Yeah, and just because, like if you're at a four-way stop and it's your turn to go and there's an old person on the other side, it's like, well, if the two of you get into an accident, I mean, this is a silly example, but it's not like you should have just deferred to them because they were 92 years old.
Right. And it's the same. It's like a good metaphor with like the athlete who's past his prime, who thinks he's still got it. But the coach has got to come out to the mound and be like, sorry, buddy, like hit the bullpen. You're toast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Get old people off the road. That's what we're saying.
Dude, I had a very traumatic moment as a kid. This reminded me of this, where I was at this plant store, a big one though, like a really big plant superstore. Mm-hmm. I think it was called Skillins, and my mom was picking up like soil and or a cactus or some shit, and I went outside to wait for her, and there was this big stack of soil bags, right? The type that men love to slap, and they were kind of in a pyramid format. So I climbed up to the top and it was very secure. And I was sitting up there wiggling my legs, enjoying myself. And some dude was coming out to his car, probably a guy who's, I don't know, let's call him 55 years old. And he looked up at me and he goes, hey, what the hell are you doing up there? Get down from there. You know you're not supposed to be up there. He didn't work at the store. He was just some asshole. And it never, like the burning of shame never left me.
I know.
And years later, I looked back on that moment and it's like, well, okay, maybe I wasn't really supposed to be doing that, but did it really warrant that response from that douchebag?
100%, dude.
I wish I'd been 24 so I could have been like, go fuck yourself.
I know. And you typically think of the right thing to say afterward, unfortunately. The same thing happened to me as a kid, dude. Something equally minor that stuck with me for years. Like I cut the line by accident at the fair, and the guy like controlling the admission was like, I saw what you did. Get out of here. He like told me to beat it. And I like never told my parents. I was so traumatized by that. And I would think about it for years. And it's like so frustrating. I was just a little kid, dude. Like, why are you being mean to little kids?
You can really affect a child's brain and make them think that they're, almost like a young dog. Like you just make them think that they've done something horrible and they don't have any perspective to know that it's not a big deal.
Right. It's a bummer, man.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's call it there. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. That's Oops the Podcast. Thank you guys for sending in that great email. Please send more to either oopsthepodcast@gmail.com or DM them to our Oops the Podcast Instagram account. I'm Francis Ellis. He's Giulio Gallerati. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Enjoy yourselves, guys.